Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio.
Some signals aren't meant to be decoded. Voices without mouths, intelligence without form, messages that slip through dreams, devices, and memory. Is it us from the future? Strange Darkness Radio welcomes you to the other side. This isn't fiction.
Or is it?
We are back. Another episode. Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio. And on tonight's show, we have Mike Hernandez and Amy Tydeman. We will be missing Carolyn tonight, but she will be with us on the next show. Tonight we have something very interesting. But before we get into that, let's check on Mike and see what he's been up to lately.
Oh man, I had some terrifying experiences these last few weeks. Man, I had to pay my bills. It was very, very scary. A lot of money that just disappeared, just vanished.
That
I have no explanation for it.
Good one, Mike.
That's too funny. Yes, bills can be scary, and that's funny. That's cool. All right, so Mike, you didn't get into much. No, we haven't done the whole Ouija board thing yet. We haven't shot that. So when we do, people, you will be notified. Make sure you have your notifications on. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Any place you get podcasts for this crazy thing that we're planning, which will happen. Amy, what have you been up to?
Well, I've also had to pay scary bills. So yeah, so I'm with you on that one, Mike. No, I went to a Scream Park for Valentine's, so that was a lot of fun. It was something different than the normal Valentine's activity, and it was pretty scary. Yeah, I got some pretty good jump scares. People were coming up on me and scaring me, and so that was actually a lot of fun. I had a good time.
Oh wow! Oh, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Very interesting. Whoever took you there must know you very well. So, nice.
Yeah, that was right up my alley.
Exactly. Well, me myself have been doing nothing but show things, prepping for this Ouija board situation that Mike is going to get in. And again, people out there, so far, I am definitely not touching the Ouija board, just to let you guys know. And I'm pretty sure Amy's probably along the same lines, even though I'm trying to convince her to do otherwise. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so just getting ready for going out, doing investigations. I have been doing a lot of crap. I'm actually, I put it's not like a GoPro, but because it's a smaller, it's a camera by DJI that I will be mounting to my motorcycle helmet to go and scout locations. So look for that video of me going out. I know I put up one video of me out at a haunted, supposedly haunted bar, which looks wild. And I'm trying to find a way to get access to that legally so we can actually go in there and check it out and see what's happening. You know, hopefully we can find something other than roaches and rats running around in that building.
Was that the one on YouTube in Modesto?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So where did you hear about that place?
I always pass by it sometimes when I'm doing excursions up there. And I was like, you know what, let me check this place out. And so did a little bit of research on it. Supposedly it's a haunted bar. There are, markers out there of people passing away. So I'm not sure if it's just people along the road or actually at the bar, but it's like in very close proximity. So more to come on that. And we'll find out what's happening with that. But let's get into the show tonight because it's going to be a very interesting show. So let Benson take us into this. Here we go.
In a world where we are taught to look outward for answers, some discover that the most terrifying doorway opens inward. Tonight's guest claims he found a way to step outside himself, to watch his own life unfold, not through dreams, not through imagination, but through a state of consciousness he calls the Window Man. A place where emotion fades, time bends, memory fractures, and the mind becomes both the observer and the observed. Was it a trauma-born defense mechanism, a neurological anomaly, a spiritual awakening, or proof that reality is far more layered than we're prepared to accept? He has lived inside this state, lost time within it, mapped it, and nearly lost himself to it. And as he puts it, we are all prisoners of the present, marching forward 1 second at a time. But what if you could break the rhythm? What if the scars of your past weren't just memories, but coordinates? Tonight, he pulls back the curtain on what happens when you stop being the player and become the witness. Strange Darkness Radio welcomes Will Camaren to tonight's show. Let's open the window.
Welcome, Will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So, sir, tell us about your book.
Okay. I thought I was going to start out by telling you about my terrible Valentine's Day experience.
Oh, no, we definitely can hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, because that was because everybody's talking about their day. So
Yeah.
I just thought, I went to a terrible Mexican restaurant and paid a fortune for food that really wasn't very good.
Oh,
so
wow.
that wasn't very cool.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to, at least be on the story. You guys were, talking about bills and all those things. So I thought I'd tell you about my excruciating experience with a terrible Mexican restaurant.
Oh no! Did it have good Yelp reviews
was
though?
not
And
very
so
good.
they
Exactly.
tricked you?
Yeah, like how did you find that place?
I just thought, it was someplace that was, right around where I'm at. And we went over there and I'm thinking, hey, $20-something for a burrito. This is going to be good. No,
Ooh,
it really was
expensive.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been much more happy with a taco truck. I'm just saying. But
Yeah. Oh, that's disappointing. Oh.
on Valentine's Day it is. I mean, some days you're
Yeah.
not disappointed with things like that. But that day, that made me a little disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. But
Yeah, totally.
hopefully everything else worked out that night, that evening, very well.
Yeah, it did. Mm-hmm.
Nice. That sounds good.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, the burrito didn't do too much damage because sometimes when a burrito does damage, you don't have time to do anything else all night. So
Yeah, the
trust me.
whole night wasn't ruined.
100%.
That's funny.
That's nice. But thank you for that. And let us know about your book, man, because this is an incredible book. It it covers a lot of different things from the passage of time, or is it the passage of time? So those are the questions. But yeah.
The book tells you a lot of crazy things. Seemingly anyway. So I would say for the listeners who are listening, just today, open your mind, understand that one of the most arrogant things that we can do is to believe that because something doesn't fit inside the box that we have created in our mind, that it's not possible. And that's it. Just we need to actually say, okay, the reality is humans understand maybe 0.05% of all knowledge that is out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So to believe that something could not exist in the 99.5 something percent, is ridiculous. So, I mean, we need to just open our minds to say, hey, maybe there's things we don't understand. And the book really does go into a lot of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in coming up with, well, again, this is not fiction. This is written from your personal experience and incidents that occurred that triggered you to be able to have this ability, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. It basically started when I was 9 years old, but to be fair, there were precursors.
Okay.
When you look back, it was like from the beginning, I was different. I was 18 months when I potty trained myself. I was, by the time I was 2 years old, I could hold a conversation with you at the level of a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
By 3 years old, I was beginning to see things before they happened, or if they had already happened and nobody knew about it, I did. So I would tell my family members and things, hey, this happened, and they would call and they would find out that it actually did. So, this was, it was, I had an extra sensory perception.
Are you the only one in your family that has this gift, or are there others that,
Yes, as far as I know, I'm the only one that had this gift. There's been some other things. There was some astral projection, different things, but nobody has had this gift.
So were you able to astral project as a child?
No, I wasn't able to do that. Wasn't one of my giftings, but this certainly was. And one of the things that I've learned is that it's easy to understand your natural gifts, right? But to access your supernatural gifts, a totally different thing. So along this whole path of me talking to you guys, I'll explain to you exactly how you can do that, how you can access those giftings, and why certain people are targeted. For example, yourself, you said that your paranormal experience started happening about 9 years old. Yeah. Was that right?
Yeah.
9 is one of the numbers. The ESP for me was 3 years old. 3, 6, 9, those are huge numbers. If you listen to Nikola Tesla talk, he talks about how if you were to understand the power of 3, 6, 9, that you could conceivably run the universe. Wow. So it's there's a reason that you get certain things at 9. I can also explain to you what paranormal experiences are. There are a couple different things. And one is them trying to get you, because they understand that your gifting is a huge gift, right? So you have something in you that they don't want you to unlock. Oh. So if they can get you focused outward, what is that? Then you're not focusing inward, because if you start focusing inward, then you can understand where your supernatural gift is.
So before we get into your book, when you say them, who are you referring to?
When I say them, what I'm talking to is, or what I'm talking about is what I talk about in the second book, which is soon to be released. It's called Window Man 2, The Darker Force. And that is, it's demonic energy, demonic controllers, people that run everything. And I'll tell you flat out right now, this is going to be something that is a little bit mind-blowing, and people don't talk about this, but I don't care. I go ahead and I just say what, the truth is. I'm not speculating when I say that we live in a matrix. I am telling you we do. 100%. And I've seen it, and I know that. And so I understand what the paranormal activity is. It's leftover code in certain instances. And in other instances, it's them sending you in a different direction so that you never understand what's in you. Because if you understand like your spinal cord, and you understand the 33 vertebrae, and you understand that there's this thing called Kundalini energy that runs through that, okay, and frequencies. And if you can get to that final vertebrae, that one that is called the Atlas vertebrae, or some people call it the Atlas, it's like you can actually force the energy into the pineal gland that decalcifies it and allows you to access your supernatural gifts. Wow. And so that's what I'm talking about. There's a whole lot to it. I mean, we could spend hours talking about that alone.
So, but real, to be clear, there are ways to access parts of your spine individually, so that way you can have access to these abilities.
Yes, it's frequency, and there's also something called frequency binders that keep you from ever being able to step into these higher levels of frequency. One of those you'll understand really easily. It's a 40-hour week job, right? If it keeps you focused on only your evenings in your weekends,
Yes.
well, then you're not focused inward. You're not focusing on what you can do. That's pretty obvious. The second one is your screens, right? Your TV, your phone, your computer, especially your phone. Oh God, you're sitting there scrolling, doom scrolling, taking a hit of dopamine from somebody liking a post or whatever, and that just keeps you in this state where you can't ever raise your frequency.
Yeah.
There's a multitude of them. The third one that I will tell you, and I won't spend a tremendous amount of time telling you about this, but I promise you that it will be one of the biggest things talked about in your comments. And that is because people don't understand this, and they probably never will. When you look at it, I think only about 2 to 7% of all of us understand this. So animals bind your frequency, and chief amongst these animals
Whoa.
are dogs.
You probably just stunned a lot of our community, especially Amy, who just got a dog.
Yes, they bind your frequency terribly, and I'll explain it. I won't just say it, I'll back it up. Okay, and here's why. Their bark lets off a frequency that lowers your own frequency. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, my dog doesn't bark that much. Well, the thing is, your dog does something along this chain. Yeah. Dogs have a smell, and whether or not you go nose blind to it or not, you are picking that up with your olfactory. It's picking up that, and it's lowering your frequency. They leave hair. When they leave hair, you got to take a lint roller and get it off your clothes. Now you're frustrated, right? So it's keeping you in anger and frustration. When you step outside, you step in a landmine. All right, that's frustrating, right? Am I wrong? It is frustrating.
Yeah, but Will.
Okay, I'll let you say something.
But can I just say, because I did read I didn't have time to read all of your book, but I did start your book, and I know that you said you don't like animals, have never liked animals. So
and I also said it was spiritual discernment. But there was something there that was causing me to never.
I got to get a little sound for shots being fired. Which is good. I like how Amy came over the top rope with that. That was cool. But
yes, she did. I will also say, if you go out and you pick up the landmines in the yard, that's not one of these things that's going to raise your frequency either. That's terrible for you. And then if you want to go somewhere, and if, by the way, if you have more than one dog, it compounds this egregiously. But I'm saying that if you have 2 or 3 dogs and you're trying to get them taken care of when you're going on a vacation, you have a couple things that you can do. Either not go, right? You pay for somebody to watch them, because nobody really is going to accept to take your 3 dogs or however many dogs. So that takes money away from your trip when you go, or you take them with you and they're lowering your frequency on a time it should be raising.
I mean, yeah, I will say there are a lot of distractions there when it comes to, like you said, having a dog. But then they also bring positive things.
Love, light, and joy.
Yeah, they do. So you would think that would, just like mentally raise your frequency, just because sometimes that peace and love that they bring within you.
Well, I believe this is the story that so many have been told, and it's so easy to look at them and go, oh, they're cute or they're this. But, when I look at it, I see that people are trying to find something instead of what they really want. And what I mean by that is, like, if you want protection for the house, then, get an alarm, or a gun. That's what I'm saying. If you're looking for companionship, then find a partner. There's so many different things. I don't see the value, except for in a few cases. Now, and I'm just saying that I don't see it across the board. I do see seeing eye dogs. I do see bloodhounds, canines that protect police officers and stuff like that. And there have been dogs that have done some really heroic acts and, you know, attacked mountain lions and things like that. So I do give respect where that's due. But I am saying that they just weren't meant to be in every single house across America and lowering everyone's frequency.
Yeah, that is interesting because there's a lot of things that we do in the modern age to appease, you know, whether it's ourselves, whether it's others or the government or, you know, keeping up with the Joneses. And we definitely were not put on the earth to do those things. We, you know, we definitely have lost our path on why we are truly here. It is not to work until you die and rinse and repeat for your children. That is definitely true. But I do want to ask you, did, you know, your discovery of the window man or your persona of that awaken all of this information? Is that what happened?
Not originally. The discovery of the window man was only a part of it. The way that I like to explain it is like, you know, you start getting in shape. Okay. So you start getting in shape and then you go, hey, you know what? I'm in shape now. I might as well box. And then you start boxing and then you're like, hey, I might as well kickbox. And then sooner or later, you're like, I might as well wrestle or do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And then you become a complete martial artist. And what I'm saying is that's what happened to me across this whole process. Was it took a lot of different things to get to where I'm at today and, you know, seeing all the things that I've seen. The window man itself was an early discovery, but I was able to use it to do some crazy things.
So can I ask what made you pick or did you pick it, or was it something that came to you, the window man?
Yeah, I actually picked it. I said the window man because that's how it feels. It feels as if you're peering out through a window. It's like you're not in control of anything. So it's like, you know, everything that's going on outside when you're looking out of a window, you're not in control of. And that's kind of how this is. It's like I wasn't in control of anything. I'm just looking out through the window. And I mean, I'll explain that as we go further into this and talk about it. But yeah, that's the reason why I ended up calling it the window man.
So it's like you're looking through your eyes from the inside of your head. Basically.
Yes, absolutely. That was, and like I said, the first experience happened when I was 9 years old. I'd be happy to tell the audience about that if you'd like.
Yes, for sure. But Amy, did you have a question?
He may get into it as we talk more. I was just going to say, for those that, you know, haven't read the book yet, what is the main gift that you received, you know, when, and I guess you can talk about it, you know, like when you were 9 and that happened, but what is the gift that you have exactly?
Well, the gift, the window man state in and of itself was a gift. But that gift was grown and grown and grown until I was able to quite literally traverse time. And that's, if you read it, you'll, you know, if everybody gets a chance to read The Window Man, and I would suggest, please go out. It's on Amazon, you know, get it. And you'll hear all of these stories in there, and it'll prepare you for Window Man 2, which is coming soon. But it's, the window man state was just part of the gift, and it grew to a place where even traversing time wasn't even the end all. It went much further than that, and we find out why. And I'll tell you why. Earlier, I said to you that I wasn't speculating when I said we live in a matrix. That we actually 100% do, and I'm telling you that we do. It's because the window man exploits a glitch. That's what it does. Yeah. It exploits a glitch. And
so it allows you to stay in your body, within your head or within your reality of your mind. You're able to move in and out of time.
I'm able to move in and out of different timelines and this timeline as well. Different ones because I'm stepping into different coded matrices. So what I'm saying is that we're not alone. There's so much going on, and this reality here is amongst the most veiled possible. Actually, let me take that back. Not amongst the most veiled possible. This is the most veiled reality. We have drawn the short straw 100%. It's like even the things that you believe that you know are lies. I mean, across the board, so many different things. Most of what people believe they know are flat out lies. And I've seen that.
So are we locked into this? Is this something that we can escape or traverse like yourself?
You can. You absolutely can. But it takes a higher frequency in order to reach that level to do that. I'm going to say, I don't know whether you can.
Yeah.
Or Mike can, or Amy can. I don't know that. I'm saying I can because of my specific supernatural gift. Each of us carries one.
Yeah.
So you carry one, and I believe that you must carry a strong one. And the reason you carry a strong one is because they came after you so early in life to get you focused outward. So if you can actually tap into that, I don't know what your gifting is, but your gifting is a strong one, no doubt. And so can everybody traverse time? No, I'm not saying that everyone can do that. I'm saying that specific ones of us absolutely can.
So just like people believe in reincarnation, when you pass, are you just reborn in the matrix and you're leveling up perhaps? Or is it something that until you're still stuck at that same state?
Until there is an awakening from one who actually reaches that level and rewrites everything, we're going to continue that way. We are going to continue reincarnating. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Over and over again. And I'm going to tell you something too. This is interesting because I'm sure you've got some Bible believers out there. I'm one myself. Okay. Yeah. And at any point in this interview, if you want to ask me, wait a minute, like, how does that fit in the Word of God? I would be more than happy to tell you, because none of this is mutually exclusive with the Word.
Yeah.
Every bit of it is. It's just me, explaining it. So if at any point you go, hey, wait, how does that work?
Yeah,
I'm more than happy to show you that scripturally.
Yeah, no, I do have some questions about that. But before we get into that, let's definitely go back and talk about, when you were 9, I believe in 3rd grade, what transpired.
Okay, so I'm 9, I'm in 3rd grade. I'm sitting in class, I'm in the front, and I'm this real timid kid. This kid that was picked on by virtually everybody at the time. And I had to go to the bathroom so bad. I mean, just ridiculously bad. And I didn't want to raise my hand, because if I raised my hand, I felt like everybody's going to laugh at me when I say I have to use the restroom, right? That backfired in a really, really, really bad way. Yeah. So I'm sitting in the front. All of a sudden, I got piss running down my leg. And the teacher is the first to see it. And rather than her trying to find some way to disguise it or do something, a million things she could have probably done. Yeah. She exposes it to the whole class. Oh. Now the whole class is cracking up, everybody's, in uproarious laughter, and she's laughing too.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was. So I end up going to the gym and changing, getting a shower and changing into my gym clothes. And I come back, and the whole rest of the day, everybody's making fun of me. Everybody's calling me names and, punching me and all kinds of things. I go home that night, and I sit in my room, and I'm crying my eyes out. I can't figure out what to do, but I'm thinking there must be some kind of escape. There has to be a way out of this thing. And All of a sudden, something really weird happened to me. I just went out. Like, I mean, it wasn't like when you cry yourself to sleep. People will understand that. This was something where it was like I was fully conscious, all of a sudden gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm out. And I woke up almost immediately, but I felt fully rested. And it was the morning. It felt like just like a split second had passed. And my eyes open up. And when my eyes open up, I'm not looking at the world the way I was looking at it before. It's like this is the first time I'm like looking at it from the window man state. And I can see everything going on, but I'm not in control of a damn thing. Nothing. And I hear my mom call from the other room, and all of a sudden I'm getting dressed really fast. And I go into the other room and I grab my mother. Now, mind you, I want to explain something. In the window man state, you're emotionless. You don't feel anything. And I felt nothing. I'm just watching. And, as this is going on. And yeah, I'm just watching. And I go into the living room and I grab my mother and just break down. And I don't understand that on the inside as a 9-year-old kid. I don't understand what's going on, why there's this breakdown happening. My mom doesn't understand it. So we drive to school. I get out of the car. And the first thing and the only thing that I said to her along the whole way was this. I said, "Don't worry, I'll be back." And I go into the class. I see this kid at the back of the classroom that is, in the book, I called him my tormentor. And he's the one, this kid just laughing at me, just crazily laughing at me. And I don't feel anything. There's nothing going on. I feel nothing inside. It felt like it was happening to somebody else in a different place. And all of a sudden I start towards his desk. My body just starts moving towards his desk. One of these other kids that had been giving me a hard time steps in the way and I just push him like right to the ground. I go to his desk, I grab him and I slam his head down into the desk. And when I slammed his head into the desk, there's blood everywhere. I mean, I didn't break his nose, but there was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
So they take me off to the principal's office and the principal starts yelling at me right away. I mean, I'm this, little timid kid, and he feels very confident in yelling at me.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I wait a couple seconds and then I just answered him. And when I answered him, that was crazy because it sounded like a full-grown man with authority. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
and I looked at him
talking to the teacher. I mean, the principal.
Talking to the principal. Yeah. I just looked at him and I said, "Hey, what kind of man allows a child to be kicked, punched, beaten, and tormented every day in and day out, and then has the audacity to act like this when that young boy defends himself?" Right? And all of a sudden he steps back and I see a deep breath in his chest and I watch his face go almost white.
Yeah.
And he looks at me because this is a timid kid just now speaking to him with authority.
Yeah.
So he steps back and he looks at me and goes, "What would you have me do?" And I said, "Here's what you do." I said, "You act as if it never happened. And if the parents squeal, then you tell them that they can be dragged into the very same lawsuit that I'll drag the school into." Right. And I said, "So this goes away right now." And I never heard of it again.
Wow.
Nothing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And this whole time, you're actually a passenger.
A passenger just watching this happen. Yeah. Later on, it took me many, many years to figure out what happened there. But what had happened there was when I was 48, I was going through this time where I was beginning to learn to traverse time. Okay. And that was one of the first places that I went because the memory was so vivid. And it was literally my 48-year-old consciousness that had stepped in for my 9-year-old self.
Wow.
And had dealt with that. And the reason that scene happened with my mother was because she had already been dead for a year, when I was 48.
Oh, wow.
So it was, that was the first time seeing her again. And not only seeing her again, but seeing her in her 30-year-old body.
Oh, sorry. So just to clarify, so you're saying the 48-year-old you was the one that went back into the 9-year-old, and that was you, the 48-year-old you, talking to the principal. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Got it.
100%, Amy.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
And that's
there's
the
gonna
first
be a lot
time
more
you
of it.
use those abilities. That was the first time. The trigger.
That was not the first trip. The first trip actually happened in my car, which was on my way to the liquor store. When I know it's crazy. That was the first time that it happened.
Was this before or after the drink?
No, this was before.
Okay.
I had just gotten off work, and so I had taken the car down to the liquor store, and I was playing Jelly Roll's "Son of a Sinner" in the car. Right, I had a Pepsi Cola I was drinking, and if you read the book, you'll know that there's all these different things that, like, I attach senses to places where I can go.
Oh, wow.
And different things. So taste, touch, smell, all these things. Whenever you've actually had a smell bring you back in time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I just want to interject because I just had another previous show that we were talking about that on, but that happens to me quite often. And to where I will smell something, I will hear a particular, music or whatever else, and it will literally feel like my body is lifting out of. Nobody's taking control because I'm, it's kind of scary because I can be driving sometimes and I feel like my body's lifting out, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell's happening? And I'll stop or pull over or do whatever. So I've had that sensation on certain things, certain smells, certain sets of music, certain things will trigger that.
That is so crazy that you say that. And I'm going to say, maybe there's a reason that we're doing this right now. Maybe there's a reason that you were the first to respond to me about this. And I think it's because like I said earlier, you have a gifting. There is something in you, and it may be that it's similar because every time somebody smells something or hears something and they start to feel like it's taking them back, like it's this nostalgic feeling or something that puts you back in a place, what you're doing is you're taking a baby step through that door. Wow. This is why if you can unite your senses, more than one, and granted the window man state allows me to do some different things that others may never be able to do, I don't know. But if you can unite your senses like that, it opens the door further. And when you can open the door further, that's when you're able to step through. So it may very well be that you have something like this in you if one sense is already making you feel that way.
Yeah, I'm always trying to push things down, but those type of things just automatically happen, and I get put into a certain state or a certain state of time. But let me ask you, you talk about also that you've had this particular thing happen to you that lasted up to 6 months.
Yes.
Is that? I mean, that to me is like, wow,
I was.
You're just the passenger in your own body and head.
Yes, I will explain that. So one time I went inside into the window man state, and I was mapping inside the brain. This is what I do when I go inside, and this is what has helped me to learn so many things. But I'm mapping away, and when I wasn't in the window, this is the thing, you have to stay in the window. If you don't stay in the window, it essentially, time just goes away completely. 6 minutes, 6 months, essentially the same. You don't know. I mean, it's a very scary thing because you could go in and then you could come out on your deathbed. You have no idea. Yeah. About time. It goes so fast. And so I was in there for like 6 months, mapping, and it didn't seem like any time to me at all. I come out, and that was the first time that I experienced what we talk about in the book called the flood.
Mhm.
And the flood is a horrible experience that you never want to have. So there was so much that happened that I didn't see. And since I didn't see it, now I have to have all the memories come back from what the one who took over saw, right? So all of these memories come flooding back all at once. And if you understand, the thing about it is that the hippocampus is responsible for your memory creation, okay? And that is buried like deep inside the temporal lobe. Well, the temporal lobe is connected to both hemispheres, and the hemispheres are connected to the occipital lobe. And the fact is that once all those memories come flooding back the way that they're flooding back, your entire brain is on fire.
Mm.
And it literally feels like somebody hits you over the head with a sledgehammer, and it lasts for hours, and it is excruciating. And this is one of the reasons why I don't push forward, because when you push forward, like, let's say I decide I want to go a year forward to see something. Well, guess what? All of the memories come back, and it's death feeling. I mean, it would kill most people. I mean, it's a very, very excruciating pain that you feel.
So
And-
Go ahead.
is it fair to say then that you want to avoid going into the window then because of just that experience alone, the fact that you could also come back on your deathbed and how excruciating it is as well?
Yes and no. That was the original thought. I was very scared to do that, like, ever again, because of what happened. But over time, I learned to do something. Talks about it in the book. And over time, what I learned to do was like slice off like this piece of my consciousness that could literally map the brain while I stayed in the window. Now, in the book, it says that don't ask me to explain how I do that. and the reason why I say don't ask me to explain it is because there are things that go on inside that you can't explain out here.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very strange. But the best way that I could explain it would be that you're like listening to your television and a fight going on in the other room, right? So neither one have your full attention, but you know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what happens. And that's the way I learned to stay in the window and not, step out, because if I stepped out, I knew exactly what was going to happen.
What did it feel like when you realized that like 6 months had passed after that?
That was a scary, scary feeling. And it left me thinking something like, what if I went in for 6 months and then I lost somebody close to me and I never got to say goodbye?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was something that I thought about after the fact, and that's the reason why I learned to slice off that piece of my consciousness and stay in the window so that I would always know what was going on, because it's a scary, scary thing.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, real quick, Amy, I thought you were going to say, I was trying to figure out why I was in prison because I was not around to know what I did or what I did not do to even plead a case in the situation.
Yeah,
that would have been
awful.
That makes sense too. Like, yeah, what did I? Yeah.
Wow, go ahead. Amy.
I trust the one who took over. He seemed to always do a better job than me.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't think I was going to come out and be locked up.
That's
But
interesting.
Yeah. It also seems like it could be tempting to do, like if you're going through a very difficult time in life or going through a lot of trauma, it also seems like it could also be a way to escape, like have all that time pass by so you're not dealing with trauma or depression.
Oh, 100%. And that's actually another thing I talk about in the book. So these are great questions. I love this. Because during my son's, well, not during his birth, but when my first son was born, his mother went through this like postpartum depression, and she had like checked out completely, and so I did the same thing, and I essentially allowed somebody else to come in and do the job that I should have been doing.
Oh, wow.
Because it was, the whole thing was a nightmare. So yeah, I remember that very vividly in dealing with that on both ends of it.
Yeah.
So it was like stepping in for that time as well.
I have to stop doing these type of shows and let the other crew host these shows, because Amy said that one thing about leaving your body, or letting something take over because you don't want to deal with something particular, right? Mm-hmm. It's so funny. This sounds so stupid, people out there. You're going to get a chuckle out of this. I do that at the dentist. If I'm doing because I hate the dentist, I hate flying. There's certain things that I will do, but I will literally go in, and then once I sit in that chair and once they say whatever they're going to do, I'm totally blanked out. I'm gone. Really? I'm not in my body. I'm kind of finishing up, and so that's interesting. I only do it at the dentist, and I do it when I'm flying. Those are the only two times. So
isn't the dentist like talking to you, and like what if they're talking to you?
There's questions being answered, and I'm responding totally. But I'm saying I put myself in a state that I am not there. I'm like checked out until it's over. And then, it's only during like root canals or something crucial.
Are you gonna do the same during the Ouija board session?
No.
Yeah, just do that then.
I think he is.
No, you guys are joking. I'm talking about, I literally feel that I'm letting something else take over while I'm not dealing with this traumatic situation. And I've always been able to do that ever since, because my dad was in the military. The dentists in the military are horrible, especially back in the 80s and the 70s, to where they'll pull a tooth with no Novocaine and all kind of shit. So I learned, so I would do that as a kid when there was something that was happening in those dentist seats. And I would be able to literally, just, and again, I don't call it leaving my body or anything, but I'll move aside until it's done, and then I will come back once the procedure is done. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, so that's a trip. But
that's a good skill to have, though.
Yeah, it is. It is, because I think the other time I'm going to use that, other than those two things, is probably the day I die. I will not try to be in my head or mind when that takes place. And I think about that often too. But anyways, enough about me. This is about Will. So go ahead, Will. That's what I'm saying. You're sparking too much stuff here. I mean, it's wild.
Love it.
But yeah, or I'm too open. These guys are just closed, and Amy doesn't want to really say what's truly going on in her head half the time. So
I don't want to scare people.
No, you know what it was? I think I just ruined Amy with dogs earlier. That was it. She was like,
yeah. No, I love my dog, love my new puppy. She puts me at a higher frequency.
Even though she's
I refuse to believe she's taking it down.
Draining
Will.
your very soul. No. But go ahead, Mike. You had a question.
So, well, ultimately for your book, what do you want people to take away after they read it? Like, what do you want them to understand? Sorry, let me get close. From reading The Window Man.
Dr. Hynek.
I think I want people to understand the most that it's like there's so many things in you. There's so many things that we can do. And we just don't realize our potential. For example, people thought for the longest time that the 4-minute mile couldn't be broken, and then Roger Bannister did it. After he did it, more than 2,000 people have done it, including 20-something high school kids have done it. So just recently, I think in 2024, there was a kid that did a standing triple backflip. Now, you wouldn't really think that would be possible unless you had seen it, a standing triple backflip, not with, a round off and running at full speed. I'm talking standing.
Oh,
That's
wow.
it. That's a fantastic accomplishment, and I think that as long as people realize that there are things in them that they can do, they'll continue to push the same way that we see with like David Goggins. You know, I mean, people just keep pushing. If you keep pushing, you're going to find new levels, and that's really what Window Man is about. Is like keep pushing, you'll find new levels.
Yep.
Mhm.
And Amy, that is your New Year's resolution, or
It is actually,
Good
yeah.
episode.
Just keep elevating, even if it takes me out of my comfort zone. That's how
Yeah.
you grow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool. Well, you were saying that the whole concept of Window Man, would you say, okay, you know how you have that voice in your head that talks? What is that? Is that literally you talking, or is that literally possibly Window Man or another entity that's actually speaking to you? What would you
Now,
say
what are we
it
talking
is?
about? Like inner monologue?
Inner monologue, yes. Have
Yeah,
you
inner
ever
monologue.
been in the window and had a conversation, or the inner monologue happened while being in that window?
Yes. 100%. Definitely. It's funny when I found that I could actually bring things to the Window Man. So it was like it's like this almost separate entity, which is very, I mean, it's like one and separate. It's very hard to explain, but like I said, there are so many things that go on the inside that you can't explain. And as you read on in Window Man, you find that there were times where I would bring him things and he would process it like a supercomputer and just kick out an answer. And that answer would lead me to something new. And there was always this thing all along the way where I felt led. Like it was like everything led to another thing. There was never a time where I felt like I wasn't being led. So it's like it's almost like it was a puzzle that was set up in advance for me to solve. And I feel like that's the creator. That every puzzle has a creator.
So what do you think that inner monologue is? Do you think that's a separate entity, or do you think that's yourself? Based upon, again, you said you mapped the brain.
Yes.
What is that inner monologue?
What specific inner
Like
monologue?
that voice that talks as you're looking at something and it's saying, you should smash that window out, or you should, I mean, again, it doesn't just say nice and kind things. Sometimes it says crazy things that
Yes.
you should drink even though you're recovering, you should do this, you should do that inner monologue. Because being part of the matrix, like, is that a voice that keeps you off kilter? If we're actually living in a matrix opposed to, that voice or that thing keeps you in line or tests you to do one thing or do the other, go the good way, go the bad way, whatever. Because there's this, being that you're actually in your own head and in this window and watching things happen. It's just curious to me if that inner monologue is playing, like it should be standing right next to you, or, like, I know that's part of the matrix. That is not really me. That is something nefarious that is getting me out of the mindset, because long before the government had you working until you die, or, when we were tilling land and doing whatever, that inner monologue was always there. That's something that's always been there before computers, before, technology and so on and so forth, right? That inner monologue is having to deal with life changes from humans. So if we are part of a machine or a matrix or something that's, because what's more powerful, supercomputers or protons and neurons? You know what I mean? Based upon the boson collider, the smashing atoms, what's really truly going on here?
CERN and all. Yeah. Well, think of it like this. It's like, you've seen the cartoons where they have the devil on one shoulder and you got an angel on the other shoulder.
Yeah.
It's there are specific signals that are sent to your brain to cause you to think certain things. Okay. Then there's you. All right. It's which one you choose to listen to. And it's a constant war. You're constantly having to figure out which one of those things is you and which one of those things is which is sent in from the matrix. So that's in the matrix is 100% controlled by the darker force, which is the fallen ones I talk about in the darker force.
Yeah.
When I talk about that in Window Man 2.
Mm.
So yeah, yes, the inner monologue is coming from two places. One, yourself. One, the part of you that is conscious, and the other is the voice that you shouldn't be listening to. And that voice is the one that is being pumped into your head.
Yeah.
100%.
Because I'm always curious about, you hear about the person who's very kind, always, did something for their neighbors, and next thing you know, he kills his whole family or he goes on a killing spree, just like a switch being, triggered. And like you said, when your switch flipped, some people can handle it and some people can't. These are the people who can't handle that switch being flipped. And, so it's all very, very interesting.
Oh yeah. There's like, the wrestler Chris Benoit, I believe it was. Yeah. Had that happen, just something, I don't know. Maybe you just listened to the wrong voice.
Yeah. So question.
Let me see. When the people around you, whenever you go into the Window Man state, have they noticed that shift in you?
Yes. In fact, that's a whole chapter where I talk about people realizing the difference, whether it was, at work when I was this jokester, not so hardworking, and then this really hardworking version of myself. At church, I was like deep in my faith, and then at the same time, a full-on hypocrite. It's like back and forth flip-flop that they would see constantly. And the people who are closest to you, they see it more. And it makes it very difficult to have relationships because, and I'm not just talking about relationships with, your female or whatever. I'm talking about like your work relationships, your church relationships. All of these different things are affected, but certainly your romantic relationships are affected greatly by it.
Yeah. So this is a gift and a curse.
Absolutely, 100%, no question. There's so many very good things and then so many very bad things. And one thing you'll find out is that as you read the book, that time, or the darker force, as I've begun to find out, in Window Man we call it time, but it begins to attack you. And it attacks you viciously. And the further you go along in the process, the more it attacks you. It's like in the beginning of the process, it attacks the people around you in order to hurt you, which is really crazy. But then as you move further, it's almost like it considers you to be a title contender, and you're no longer sheltered by the rules.
Now, is it attacking you though because you're aware and now you're able to manipulate the matrix or actually see what is transpiring? Like, what is the reason for that?
It's attacking me because I am messing with the order of things.
Yeah.
Okay. And I originally surmised that basically it was attacking me because I was like a worm in the system that it didn't like, some parasite in the system.
Yeah.
But I began to realize that there was a lot more to it than that. And so, like I said, we lay the foundation for it in Window Man, and then in Window Man 2, we're gonna really crack the lid off of it, and you're gonna find out everything. But it is, time attacks you, or the darker force attacks you because you're messing with something it doesn't want you to mess with.
Yeah.
And Yeah. And we'll get into something, what we had talked about in with the darker force in our earlier interview, and it goes pretty deep. The whole thing goes really, really deep.
Yeah. Question, Mike?
No, I'm good at the moment.
Okay. So yeah. Let's get into the whole thing about being able to move through time and to
Yes.
try to change time. Do you want to get into that story?
Sure. Yeah. The specific one, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of Window Man, I had basically decided I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do this anymore. The attacks were very vicious. I was trying to be killed at every single level. And I had actually quit for a little while. And at the end of the book, it says, in the words of Rocky Balboa, right? I said, I didn't hear no bell. One more round. Because I literally thought, you know what? I might actually do this. I might go back. We might do this again. And a little bit of time had passed. And then something happened that pushed me back into the fray. And it was a very, very public execution that I didn't see a point in. And this was the first time that I actually stepped back onto, or stepped into, should I say, the public forum of my gift. Like where I was actually on the world stage with it. And when I stepped in, I experienced for the first time the darker force. And that's the reason why the book's getting written, is because I didn't know what this was. The darker force held down every gift that I had. Every ability that I could use was suspended. There was nothing that I could do. I even tried to do things in the natural, to make calls, to stop things. Nothing worked. So the only thing that I perceived as a possibility, as a writer myself, I was like, I'll write a book. I'll write the book. And if it's released before it happens, then, he'll know.
Then you did your part. Then you did your part of what?
Then I did my part. Unfortunately, it didn't release until a day before, which sucked. We were pushing so hard to get it released before that. But it released the day before. And later on, they said it was released a couple days later.
Okay.
And they just decided that they were going to scrub it from the internet. Now, let's be honest. Okay, Window Man itself took 5 days for Amazon to approve it. Okay, that's a finished product. I'm not talking about a book that was written immediately after something happened and then put. So if it was AI slop, as they like to say it was, then it could have never happened that fast.
Wait, you're talking about the book that you're referring to, or Window Man itself?
No, I'm talking about the book that I'm referring to.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was released the day before, which doesn't make any sense. But then they tried to say it was released 2 days after, which also doesn't make any sense. And even if something is AI slop, let's be 100% honest, right? Does that mean it can't make money?
Yeah,
no, it doesn't mean it can't make money.
Not at all.
Right?
A lot of AI books were released when Chat GPT first hit.
So what would be the reason to scrub it, to completely scrub it from the internet? It's because it said some stuff that they didn't want to say. And I have gotten my hands since on a digital copy, and there have been so many things that were rewritten. I look back and I'm like, that is not what was said. Specifically, one that really ticked me off was it says the paramedics ran up and they started putting pressure on the wound and running IVs. Okay, we all know that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that put in the book? That's put in the book in order now to make it seem like it's AI slop. It clearly was not.
So, yeah, I have like so many questions about that.
Yeah.
So first, are we going to mention who we're talking about? Are we allowed to talk about that, or?
You know what? The way I am, it's like, they got, Superman has a, secret identity. Batman has a secret identity. And Iron Man just says, screw it, I'm Iron Man. So, yeah, I don't care. It's like, let's just go ahead and we'll just put it out there. I don't care. We're talking about the Charlie Kirk murder. And we're talking about the book called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk. And it was written by a female called Anastasia J. Casey. Now, if you look at something, I encoded this for my family members because I originally never was going to say anything, but I'm kind of tired of what they've done. So my firstborn son's first two letters of his name are A-N. My lastborn son, the first two letters of his name are C-A. And so is my last name, C-A, the first two letters. So I'm showing you, I was encoding it all along so you would be able to see it.
Wow.
Wait, so I don't understand. So you wrote it as under a ghost
fake
name? Oh, okay.
Pin name.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because originally, like I said, I wasn't ever gonna put this out. I'm very angry at how it happened.
Yeah. So how far in advance did you see this, and when did you start writing the book? Like, how quickly did this all come together, the finished product?
Well, it's funny because, the people around me, they were like, well, you were here when it happened. And you were as shocked as everyone. Yes, I was. That's because that was the moment I decided I'm going back. And I rolled it back and we wrote it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's exactly how it happened. I rolled it back 6 months and I wrote it.
So when you say rolled it back, it had to have been you in your 6 months previous state to write it, to yourself, which yourself you wouldn't have known until, obviously you move forward because you're, are you self-aware of now that you have the abilities more, better than you used to be, as a kid when you were doing these time, I don't know if they're called time jumps, time slips, or
They're time jumps. Yeah.
Okay.
Time jumps.
So you were aware that you went back. Well, we know you were aware when you initially went back, but once you entered into your body at the previous 6 month interval, were you aware of what you were doing when that occurred? When you started writing?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I travel back, the consciousness goes with me from the time. Yeah. Okay. So it's not like I jump back and my consciousness is the same as it was at that time.
Yeah.
It's the consciousness from the future. And you can see the same thing when I was 9 years old. It was like my 48-year-old consciousness had taken over, but the 9-year-old was just a passenger riding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that 6 month previous person is just a passenger, as you currently with the knowledge of what occurred is taking hand and writing,
taking control.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once you left, do you have any clue what transpired, like how you put it out, or what the processes were, like
Oh, absolutely.
Was it on the computer that you wrote this and you had the master to this whole thing, or you were like,
a small
let me
publishing
get rid of
company.
this? Okay.
Yeah, it was a very small publishing company that I put it out to. I paid cash because originally I never wanted anybody to know about this.
Yeah.
This was not something I wanted anybody to know about. Also, if you read in Window Man, again, this is another thing. I could never profit off anything that I did in the past.
I didn't even think to even ask that. As far as lottery numbers and all the other things that we talked about on the show.
There's actually a passage in there where it talks about me doing that and compound fracturing my leg because of it. It was there's so many different things that attack you if you try to use the gift in the wrong way.
Wow.
And you cannot profit. That is not something that you can do. So that's the reason why I didn't put it in my name. Obviously, I wasn't going to put it in my name anyway. I didn't attach it to anything that, would pay me.
Yeah.
So, Will, but I have to ask because I know people are going to ask this.
I would love it. Go ahead.
Knowing that was going to happen, was there like efforts to maybe warn him, like social media or going to major news channels, that kind of thing? Like, I mean, was there like a big push to maybe get that out there other than the book?
Well, that's what I said. Like, I tried to make phone calls. I tried to do all sorts of things, but it wasn't just my abilities that were blocked. Oh. I was being blocked at every avenue. So it wasn't just like me being able to control or pause or rewind or do any of that. It was everything. I couldn't do anything.
Like you're saying, even though you tried to stop it, the powers that be, the demons or whatever these entities are, wanted that to happen. They did not want that stopped.
They did not want that stopped. And there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing whatsoever. Like, I was held down at every turn. In fact, in being on the scene, I could feel the presence so strong. When I talked to you earlier, I said that I could feel it as if they were right next to me.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like there was it had to be proximity. They were like right here. So I'm looking around and nothing's giving me that vibe. So what it was it didn't need to be there. It was that powerful. It just crushed everything that I tried to do. And it didn't matter what I tried to do. Everything was stopped.
I'm trying to think, like, what if you had decided to go to that event and then tell the police, hey, there is this person on that rooftop who's, going, what about that? Do you think
I'm telling you that I was at that event.
Oh, you were at the event.
I was at that event. And I'm looking around in proximity and I'm trying to feel what's holding me back, what's stopping me, what's not allowing me to use power, what's not allowing me to move.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you were at that event. That's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying.
So you were saying like something was not allowing you to go.
Would not allow me to do anything. Like every bit of power that I don't even want to call it power, makes it sound like a damn superhero. I'm saying every ability that I have was crushed. I wasn't allowed to do that.
This is interesting because it goes into a lot of assassinations of historical figures. That what if this, has happened, whether it's Lincoln, Kennedy, Martin Luther King, just anyone you can think of, to where it's changing moments of time, as far as that have historical moments that have an outcome one way or the other for said event, that just has to happen for whatever reason. That's incredible. That's interesting.
Something interesting. I don't know if you listen to any of Candace Owens or any of the things that she's been saying, but she said that Charlie Kirk himself believed that he was traveling through time, and that when he would run down the street, that the street lights would flicker Like there was something about him, and she said that both her and him had astral projected before.
Yeah.
So there's giftings that are in us that people don't understand.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Very
That is
interesting.
definitely incredible. Mike, are you silent the whole time? I cannot believe you don't have a million questions. I'm just messing with you, man. He's new. I'm putting him on the spot.
I'm just so like just like paying so much attention that I forget.
He's like, no, Mike is like, damn, I came on this show. What have you gotten me into? Because this is crazy. I can, the Matrix can be after me after this particular episode ends. Wow. That's incredible, man. And that book was scrubbed. I tried to find it. I believe Mike found a little bit on it, but it was totally removed from the internet and depicted as AI and as a what did they call it, Mike?
It was like it said something like there was a percentage. It said like about like that there was like some like 92%. It was like saying that it was like AI written, and then they were like someone wrote something that or along the line of something like that, like because it was such a high number, that's the reason why they removed it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, but is there a way to look at even a copy? Like you don't have to sell it, but you can at least put a copy out so people can look at it. But yeah, I couldn't find anything nowhere on where it was published at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is because they try to debunk anything like this. I mean, this is what they do. I mean, I told you about Danny Goler before, and how he had ran a whole study where people had actually seen the Matrix code, and it was like he had 100 people that basically were looking through this diffracted NM65 red laser. And they would look through the laser, and granted, they were on DMT and everything. That's fine. I understand that DMT is a hallucinogenic drug, but when you're on hallucinogenic drugs, you see different things.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the same thing.
Yeah.
Every single one of them saw the code and described it exactly the same way. And now they're going to go ahead and say like it's all nonsense and this and that. Why are they saying that? They're saying that because they don't want you to know.
Yeah.
Simple. They don't want you to know any of these things. So, 100%. There's a code. I'm letting you know there's a code.
So, and you still have access. You still do, time travel and
I can. Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
And if you read, you'll find out about the empty timeline. I don't know if any of you guys have read about that, but the empty timeline is a place where I can actually commune with other versions of myself who do the same thing.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Who are actually doing the same thing, because the fact is there's not one of you. There's a lot of you. There's a tremendous amount of you. Yeah. And if you have the gifting, they have it.
And so there's nothing in the Matrix that's stopping you from doing this?
No. What do you mean as far as stopping me in what way?
The stopping you from accessing this and stopping you from communicating.
It's because I'm exploiting a glitch, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Number two, I think there were things designed for us, like designed for our path to victory.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. It's a place where I'm actually able to go and meet with the different versions of myself that do this. And we have come up with so many things that it's absolutely ridiculous. One of the things I said is when you start telling truth, and it's truth that they don't want others to hear, then the darker force, it comes after you and it tries to silence you. Now, if anybody's doubting that claim, let's talk about little Max Laughlin, right? Max Laughlin came out 13 years old and saying, we have other dimensions. We have all these different realities. And he started telling them how we can make free energy. And all of a sudden, little Max Laughlin's not talking anymore.
Yeah.
All right. He was going to all of these these big, places where he was talking to people, and all of a sudden he stopped showing up. And there's a reason he stopped showing up, because the thing is, the first thing they do is they threaten you, and then second, they finish you. So sometimes take the threat, but like I had said to you, I have the ability to do things that a lot don't have the ability to do. And so what we did was created a dead man switch. And that dead man switch is, if you want to come after me, go ahead.
Ooh.
But I'm not proving anything.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not proving anything, because once you prove something, then they have lost the ability to call you crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So let them call me crazy. I don't care. But in case there was ever an issue, then what we did was we learned how to occupy the same timeline. So 100 versions of me on this timeline would let a cat out of the bag that they don't want to try and put back in, that they can't put back in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like that's a huge stretch. That's a crazy thing. But everything I've been saying is crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, some would say no, and some would say they're not sure, but definitely just out of hand to not say, you're crazy, because one of the actual things that you've lived through and done, and I'm pretty sure that other people in your circle can, attest to. So yeah, it's very interesting. Now, with all this being said, you did say people are able not to achieve it on your level because they don't have your gift, but they are able to access the matrix. How would that be done? And let's talk about that in closing.
How they would be able to access the matrix?
Yes, be able to see what is actually truly going on, opposed to just being mundane, staying in the same doldrums of life and not worrying about what is truly happening.
The first thing is to avoid the frequency binders I was talking about, because those binders are set in place to keep you in that frequency. If they can keep you in the lowest frequency, which is anger, frustration, even depression's higher than anger and frustration, right? So it's like, if they can keep you in those low frequencies, then you never raise your frequency to the level that you can understand how to get there. Okay. Now there are many things that you can do. They have done things to calcify your pineal gland. That is with fluoride in the water, fluoride in your toothpaste. All of these things, avoid these things. They calcify it. There are certain frequencies, like God frequencies, all these things that you can find online. You can put them on, in your house. Listen to the frequencies. The frequencies raise your frequency. So there's a tremendous amount of things that you can do. Meditation, prayer, all of these things raise your frequency. Solitude will raise your frequency. So once you can raise your frequency to the point where you can actually hit that state where you can force it into your pineal gland, then you can tap into whatever's in you. And each of us do have something in us, and whether that thing will transcend the code or not, I don't know, because I don't know what yours is. I don't know what Mike's is or Amy's is. I'm not sure, but I do know that each of us has something in us, and that thing can be accessed. And if you can access it, then it's highly likely that you could transcend it in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to say you could traverse time, but you could do something.
Exactly.
Certainly.
That is very interesting. Amy, do you have anything in closing?
Just one little fun question. So in your book, you talk about seeing yourself on a very specific podcast. Are we that podcast? Did you see us?
I would love to say that it was this podcast. I would love to. And you guys are my first podcast and holds a special place in my heart. It was not this one, unfortunately, but yes, you guys are awesome.
Okay,
That was
just
pretty
checking.
cool. That nugget.
Well, I can't wait to find out what that podcast is then. If it wasn't us.
Nice.
But no, this was very, very interesting. And yeah, thank you for coming on, Will. It was
Thank you for
very
having me.
nice hearing from you. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
And
Thank you,
I
guys.
feel a part two coming on, just for the listeners out there, because they're going to have so many questions. Mike,
I think you're
for
right,
Will.
Bobby.
Mike, anything for Will?
So there was one. Your sons, have they said that they've had this or that they have this experience like you?
No. They, I think that they're scared of it a little bit. I mean, and anybody should be. I mean, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because it's a scary thing. And they're both very religious as well, and they may have a hard time seeing how this is something that works along with the word. But it absolutely does. Like I said, I was more than happy to answer any questions like that. But
yeah, so if they came forward and said that they had this, you would guide them, like as their father, you would guide them through, like, hey, it's not as scary as you believe it to be.
I will tell you this: I would be worried a little bit for them to do it. That's because I love them, and this is a very scary thing. It's not something that I don't just go, I'll guide you right through the process.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
because you
scary.
said you could come back and be on your deathbed too. So
Yes.
that is terrifying. Mm-hmm.
It is. The whole
Yeah.
thing's terrifying, and like I said, it tries to kill you at some point. No
Yeah.
doubt. It is a very scary thing, and I don't know that I would want my kids to actually go through it.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, again, Will, thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody,
It's a pleasure.
go get the book, and tell them about the book and your socials, so that way they know where to get.
Yeah, sure. You can find Window Man on Amazon and plenty other places. You can go to my social media at Papa Will's Reviews. I also do food reviews myself.
Nice.
So
Nice.
on TikTok, you can check that out. So, and you can see Window Man there, and you can pick it up there. So, yeah.
So that food review of that Valentine's Day Mexican restaurants on there.
Yeah. They, by the way, they get like 4.5 from me. Yeah. No.
That's too funny.
That's funny.
Well, again, thank you so much. And yes, people, go out there, get the book, and definitely hit Will up on his socials and ask questions. And, especially if you're a person that's being pulled into the window, you never know. He might have something for you or tell you to stay away. All right. That's it tonight for Strange Darkness Radio. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Too.
That was awesome, Will.